everyone, this is Ben from VGBlaster, and today I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to do a full set breakdown of the next Buddyfight set. This is X-BT04 Rainbow Striker. So I'm going to go through every single card in the set because I'm really on the Buddyfight train at the minute, obviously preparing for Worlds, really doing my research, really looking into stuff. So I thought, since I'm going through this whole set, I might as well go through it with you guys as well. I might make a full meta-analysis video later on after the set comes out, because a lot of the stuff in this set looks good in theory, but in practice it might come out differently in playtesting against other stuff. So yeah, we'll see. So I'll wait until the set comes out and decide if I'm going to make that video. If you guys really want it and ask for it, then I will make it. But yeah, I'm doing this research anyway, preparing myself for Worlds, so I might as well share kind of the stuff I'm looking at with you guys. So as I said, I'll go through every card in this set with you. I'm going to be using Buddy Spoiler for reference and for visual aid for you guys. I'm no way affiliated or sponsored by them. I just like their website. I like using them. So yeah, check them out if you haven't already. So to begin, we will get the only generic card in the set out of the way right off the bat. This is Chestbreaker. It's generic spell. Choose one of the following two. Choose up to 2 spells on your opponent's field and put them on the bottom of their deck in any order. Or counter, choose a card on your opponent's field, and for this turn it gets power -2000 and critical -1. So we're sure to really kind of nail it with these set spells in terms of what we kind of need as hard counters to stuff that is kind of running around with no response. So set spells are kind of prevalent in the game at the minute, so I definitely sideboard this now against stuff like Abigail Control that kind of is built around having set spells, and if they set Execution ground, you can't destroy them without taking hefty effect damage. So this gets around it. There is Sunken Seabed Ruin for Chaos, which can be quite good. This puts it to the deck, so it's not going to the drop zone, so they can't keep getting it back out. And there is a set spell for Prism and Thunder Empire in this set. They're quite good. That could see some play. So this definitely has high sideboard potential, and I could even see people mainboarding it because you're not going to see much use out of its second effect. That's not going to be the main reason why you put it in your deck. It's mostly for the set spell kind of popping, well not popping, but bouncing back to deck. But the second effect is quite decent against something that's going to be swinging for a high crit, or something that's going to be multi-attacking like a bats that you can't do much else against. Just reduces crit, which means it's doing less damage to you, and then hope they don't impact you. But yeah, it has multiple uses. So if you do, you sideboard it in, or it's in your main board, and your opponent doesn't hit those set spells, then you can use its other effect as well. So yeah, I can see this card seeing quite a bit of play, depending on how the meta goes with set spells. So to start, we'll start off with Chaos. I'll go through every card in their secret pack to begin with. This is Chaos Transcendent GEARGOD version 99. This is a size 90 monster, 73/7. Core cost of 3 gauge. It has Chaos Drain, Chaos Territory, and Penetrate. Hopefully you all know what they are. I'm going to kind of skip over stuff like that in this video, just because I'll assume you kind of guys watching this play Buddyfight know what the main kind of effects of stuff is. So this card's only other effect is a Overkill. During your opponent's turn, discard a card from your hand, call up to 3 Chaos from your drop zone without paying their core cost. Then, if your opponent's cards have attacked 6 or more times this turn, end their turn. So this is really good for defensive and kind of control reasons. So you have this out, you have some other monsters out, you can Chaos Drain them all away, then activate your Overkill, if your opponent's got multi-attacking kind of stuff. Obviously the 6 or more attacks is aimed solely at Thunder Empire to end their turn, so they can't do their impact as you saw in the anime. But then you're going to call 3 cards out, you're going to call stuff like Darryl Burke, Osiris, that's going to gain you advantage, in combination with something like an Edward the Chaos that can disrupt your opponent's field. So if it is Thunder Empire and you just don't want to deal with it outright, you just call like something like Edward out. If they don't have Black Sandcastle set, bounce that bats back to hand. So yeah, multiple advantages of this Overkill. You know, you can go in big on one turn with this, call it out, call some of the cards out. Attack, Chaos Drain, you field away when you're on your opponent's turn, and then call it back out, and then go for your opponent again, or use those targets once again for Chaos Drain to make sure your opponent isn't doing any damage to you at all, as long as they're not obviously penetrating. So yeah, this, I think 99 is going to see a fair bit of play. It's a very good card. Next, Chaos is Olga, a Dungeon World size 3, Dungeon Enemy, Demon Lord, Chaos, 615, core cost of pay to gauge. When your center monster attacks, if this card is on your left or right, for this turn, that card gets double attack. So obviously, this is going to be, I can see this being used in the new kind of Mother Dragon Egg build, but this is going to be the most deadly in Chaos. Obviously, call it to one of the sides. If you have two monsters in your center, they're both going to gain double attack if they don't already have it. So that's really scary. Chaos already puts a lot of pressure on with kind of, you know, high crits, multi-attacks. This is going to add more to it. This card can be dealt with. 5 defense makes it very poppable to a lot of spells. It's got no Soul Guard or anything like that. It's got low crit itself. Also, do not call this card to the field against Prism Dragons. This is an advanced warning, because you will basically shoot yourself in the foot, because it's all passive effects. So if your opponent calls out Alder, activates the Overturn, this effect is still going to go off when your center monsters attack from that effect. So you can just be dealing more damage to yourself. So be very wary of that. If you're against Prism Dragons, don't call this card unless they haven't called Alder and you want to go for game, because otherwise, as I said, it will be the death of you probably. Next is Chaos Carbuncle, Legend World, size 3, wider Sakal, I think is how you say that attribute, probably not, 725. Sorry, counteract during an attack on your opponent's turn, pay 1 gauge and 1 life. If you do, nullify that attack. This ability only activates once per turn. So, I honestly can't see this card seeing much play. With all the Chaos Drain and obviously 99's effect, and there's decent defense spells in Chaos now, even though a lot of people I've seen have kind of dropped them, either completely or to quite a low number. You don't kind of need nulls. You know, this would be good maybe a set or two ago against something like Unyielding Bats. This would have been really good against that, because it would have nullified the attack as long as they were over 4 life, meaning they couldn't just wipe your board out. But in the current meta, like Unyielding's really not prevalent. It's, if anything, a sideboard card now, if not completely dropped. Actually, no, it's probably still a solid sideboard card. But yeah, so I can't see this card seeing much play at all, honestly. Next, there's 2 set spells in the secret pack. First is Interruption Barrier at Dungeon World. Spell, you merely cast this card when your monster is being attacked. Counter, nullify that attack. Then, if there are 4 or more monsters on your field, draw a card. So you're going to get the most use out of this in Chaos. It can be used in any other dungeon build as well, but obviously with the 4 monster thing, it's going to be best in Chaos. As I said, a lot of people have dropped kind of defense spells in Chaos down, either completely or significantly, because of the kind of defensive plays you can make. So if you run 8, you can use 8. You know, 99 will call back a full field after you've Chaos Drained them, so you don't really need to run defense spells. But if you're going to, this is a decent choice. Next, Machining Sacrifice, Dragon World, Summon and Chaos attributes. You may only cast this card during your opponent's turn. Cast cost of put a monster on your field into your drop zone. Counter, call a size 3 or greater monster from your drop zone by paying its core cost. So obviously this is can be very useful in Chaos. Room in Chaos is quite tight. Don't know if it's going to see much play, but obviously you can swap out something that's being attacked or targeted by an effect, and then call something from your drop zone. Ideally, you'll call something with no core cost that's going to gain you advantage, because this can only be played on your opponent's turn. So just call out a Darrowburk or an Osiris, something like that. Or if you've got the gauge, call something that could disrupt your opponent's field. But yeah, this, because it's quite generic in general, the only kind of thing is the card you have to call has to be size 3 or greater. So this can be used in something like size 3 Sun Dragons. It can be used in the new Shadow Dragons. So you can quite easily put the size 3, one of the size 3s into the drop zone and call it out. And the card you put into the drop zone doesn't just has to be a monster. So you can put anything. You can put a little size 0 Shadow Dragon or anything else you've got. So yeah, I can see this card seeing a bit of play in a few things. Not prevalent, not a high number, but yeah, I could see it being used. Now, moving on to non-secret pack cards, there is no other double or triple rare chaos apart from the double rare set spell, the mini GEARGOD one, which we'll go into later. But yeah, so really, if you're looking to build chaos, most of the stuff's going to be pretty cheap. It's just the secret packs you need to get hold of, which obviously going to vary in price. I don't know which is going to be the most expensive. They're all quite decent this time around. So yeah, we'll see. So anyway, as I say, moving on. This is Chaos Frager. Legend World, Asgard Deity Chaos, 7/2/6, core cost to pay 2 gauge. When this card is discarded from your hand, pay a gauge. If you do, call it from your drop zone without paying its core cost. When this card enters the field, destroy a monster on your opponent's field. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent and gain 1 life, and then it has double attack. So there's not much discarding in Chaos. This is probably going to be mostly used in Asgard, I imagine, but I'm pretty sure they have better choices. I'm not well versed in most Legend World stuff, so I can't say for certain, and I don't think this effect is good enough to make anything kind of meta. As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong, but yeah, kind of for the on-entry skill, it could be used in Chaos, but I think there's much better options. I think this is more a card for Asgard. I think having double attack is pretty decent, but yeah, we'll see. I can't see this card seeing much play in Chaos anyway. Next is Chaos of Valor, another Legend World card, just Deity and Chaos attribute. 8/2/5, core cost to put the top card over your deck into this card's soul and pay 2 gauge. When this card attacks your opponent's monster, destroy that monster, double attack and soul guard. So this isn't that great. Obviously, if you're attacking something that's can be destroyed by card effects and has a decent amount of soul, it's good against that because it's going to get rid of 2 soul. It's going to destroy the monster, then the attack's going to carry on. This can obviously be used as a double chaos drain if it's still got its soul, so you can destroy it once to keep GEARGOD on the field and again. But I don't know, there's much better options in Chaos because it's only a deity. It's only their attribute. It doesn't have much synergy with anything else. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see much of this card. Next is Chaos Lumiere. Now this card I think we are going to see a little bit of. This is Dungeon World, Dungeon Enemy, Dragon and Chaos. 7/2/6, core cost to pay 2 gauge. When this card enters the field or is destroyed by a card effect, destroy a monster on your opponent's field, double attack and penetrate. So obviously if you saw this card in the anime, it was used in the new Dungeon World Egg build, which is, I could see, once again, it being played there, because obviously you call it out, you can destroy a card on your opponent's field. Obviously this could be quite useful in Chaos as well. Obviously you call it out, destroy something, and then you can destroy it by a Chaos Drain, and destroy another monster on your opponent's field. So yeah, it is only monster destruction. Obviously it's not going to be very useful against bats, but it can destroy other stuff. So yeah, I could see this being played. Next is Chaos Slime. This is an interesting card. It's Dungeon World size 3, Dungeon Enemy and Chaos. 4/3/5. Cards on your opponent's field cannot move or be returned to hand, and your opponent cannot call cards from the drop zone. So I don't see how much play this card's going to see in the current meta or the meta coming up after this set comes out. This is a sideboard card, it's good against, if Magic World was prevalent, which it's really not, especially in the English game. It's okay against that. Move and bouncing your own cards back to hand isn't that prevalent in the game at the minute. So the first effect isn't really that useful. It's mostly the second effect. Stuff like Abigail, Galaxy Dragon and Jackknife, against Chaos itself actually, because this can stop 99. Because even though they can activate the Overturn, you're not responding to that, they just can't call the cards. So I'm sure this stops that, so it's kind of good for the mirror match. So this could be a decent sideboard card. I can't see this being mained, or it could be used in like a very low number in something like Dungeon Enemy Bats, because you can just search it out, call it out, but it becomes size 0. But yeah, past that, I don't know. It's like I say, it's a possible sideboard if it's going to be used in anything. Next we have Chaos Campery. This is a Star Dragon World card. It is Prism, Dragon, and Chaos 7/3/7. Cost to pay 2 gauge. When this card attacks, you gain 2 life. Then, if there are 2 or more monsters on your field, for this turn, this card gets double attack. So the double attack with the solid 3 crit, very good in Chaos. Gaining life, you know, it's always useful in anything. So I could see this being used in Chaos at like maybe a 2 of or something like that. Can't see it being played in Prism Dragons at all. It doesn't have Soul Guard, so it's going to be popped pretty easily. You know, it can't reduce its size, anything like that. There's much better options out there. Next, with my least favourite card of the set, this is Chaos Gamma Radius. I was really hoping for some decent Neo Dragon support in this set. As you know, I main Jackknife. I love Jackknife. I was hoping we'd get his Overturn in this set. That's now obviously coming in the Climax booster, which is the next set we're getting in February. So that's going to be after Worlds, unfortunately. So it's really put my plans for Worlds up in the air about what I'm going to play. We'll get 2 Neo Dragon cards, or 2 support cards for Neo Dragon in the set. Both are pretty bad, this being the main offender. So yeah, this Neo Dragon Chaos 8/3/6. Core cost, put up to 3 monsters on your field into this card's soul, and pay 3 gauge. At the end of your turn, you may put a monster from your drop zone into this card's soul and Soul Guard. Yeah, this is going to be played in Chaos. You know, GEARGODs have that core cost effect and have much better skill. You know, obviously the X chest one has that effect, and it can be any, so you can put 4 in if you really want. You probably wouldn't, but you know, this says up to 3. I know this is meant to be for like Dragon Arms. You know, you can call like a field of Dragon Arms, put them all into this card's soul, and then you can keep putting stuff in the drop zone. But there's much better Neo Dragons out there that do other stuff. Just yeah, this card is bad. This card upsets me. I'm gonna move on for this card. Next we're going to Chaos Spells. This is Machine God's Blessing. This is a Legend World spell, Deity Chaos. Choose up to 2 monsters on your field. For this turn, those cards get Penetrate. Then, if you have 3 or more size 3 or greater monsters on your field, draw a card. Machine God's Blessing can only be cast once per turn. This is an okay card. I don't know how much play it's going to see. It's more viable in Chaos. Penetrate is good and can be very useful in Chaos, especially if you're going to be giving something. You know, if you have Zolgar out, you can give you 2 cards in the center Penetrate that are going to have double attack. If you're against a deck that has kind of like is center focused defensively, then it's going to be useful for that. But even then, you'd probably sideboard it, because once again, space in Chaos is pretty tight. So yeah, I don't know how much play this card's going to see. Next is Burning Castletown. Now this card I think we will see quite a bit of. This is a Dungeon World spell, Chaos attribute. You may only cast this card if you have 2 or more monsters on your field. Counter, rest a card on your opponent's field. If ninjas have shown us anything currently, being the ability to rest cards for basically nothing is very good. So, and this is a very splashable spell. All you have to do is have 2 monsters on the field, which you're pretty much going to have in most Dungeon World builds, and obviously in Chaos. So yeah, if they have no way of restanding their monster, you know, if it's a Bats that's not the main Thunder Empire one, you're either going to pretty much end the turn or force them to use their Overturn when it's not ideal, or you're just going to stop any other kind of threat on your opponent's field quite easily. So yeah, this can be put in pretty much any Dungeon World build, and I can see it being played in Chaos as well. Next we'll move on to the Mini GEARGODs. This is Mini GEARGOD Purple. Mini GEARGODs are interesting. I don't think they're going to see much play. There's kind of a fun idea for a deck going around, combining them with Chaos Deftalica, which is probably the only way to use them as kind of like a main focus of a deck. Because they mill a lot of stuff. They disrupt your opponent's field. You have Deftalica out. You can keep it on the field quite easily with this kind of stuff. But I think that's more of a fun build more than anything. I don't think a lot of these cards are going to see competitive play. You could sideboard a few of them, but yeah, I'll just go through them. This is Mini GEARGOD Purple. They're all just coloured cards. These might get more support in the future, but anyway, Choose a card with set on your opponent's field, pay 1 gauge, and put this card on your field into the drop zone. If you do, destroy the chosen card. All the mini GEARGODs have Chaos Territory as well. So yeah, like I said, set spells might be quite prevalent going forward, but is it worth putting this card in because you're going to lose it as well? And it's, I suppose, once again, it could be used as a monster, but I think just use the chest breaker, whatever it's called. If you're going to sideboard something against set spells, because it can remove 2, so if you do come against Abigail, which sets multiple, that's going to be a more effective card. And once again, it has the use of kind of neutering something. So that's maybe a better option than purple if you're going for just a normal chaos build and not a build focused around the mini GEARGODs. So yeah. And it doesn't cost a gauge, obviously. This card does cost a gauge, I believe. Yeah, 1 gauge on destroying this. So yeah. Next is mini GEARGOD Blue 727. When one or more of your opponent's monsters attacks, you may choose an attacking monster, pay 1 gauge, put this card from your field to your drop zone. If you do, destroy the chosen card. And Chaos Territory once again. So this, it's okay. It's not going to see me play in a normal Chaos build. In the main, in a mini GEARGOD focus build, like I say in the Deftalica build, can be pretty useful because obviously you can spare your Deftalica another turn. You don't have to mill. You have to mill more cards than you need. Anything like that. But yeah. Next is mini GEARGOD Red. Act. Choose an item on your opponent's field. You may pay 1 gauge and put this card from your field to your drop zone. If you do, destroy the chosen card. Item destruction can be useful. There's not many decks that are item, kind of relevant at the minute, apart from obviously Laverton. But then, what's popping one of their items going to do? You can't pop Laverton. So, is it worth running this card just to pop one item? I don't think outside of a mini GEARGOD build it's going to see much play. Mini GEARGOD Green. When this card battles and destroys your opponent's monster or deals damage to your opponent, you may put this card from your field to your drop zone. If you do, deal 2 damage to your opponent. So this can be okay outside of mini GEARGOD build because you can burn your opponent for 2. It's got high attack, so you can destroy a monster, pretty much guaranteed, and then burn them for 2, and then you've got all your other attacks in Chaos. So maybe, but there is probably better options. Finally, for the mini GEARGODs, there's mini GEARGOD Yellow 422. When this card enters the field, pay 1 life. If you do, put 1 mini GEARGOD Factory from your deck into your hand. So if you don't have one out already, or if you're worried one's going to get destroyed or it has been destroyed, just add it to hand. When this card attacks and deals damage to your opponent, choose one of your opponent's gauge. You may put this card into your drop zone. If you do, put the chosen card into the drop zone. Chaos Territory. So yeah, this is just for the main, if you're going to make a full deck around mini GEARGODs, because that deck kind of relies on mini GEARGOD Factory, so you want to search it out, get it into your hand. It is not worth running in Chaos just to remove 1 gauge from your opponent, honestly. So yeah. And finally, this is mini GEARGOD Factory. Set spell. At the beginning of your turn, put the top 3 cards of your deck into your drop zone. Put all cards with mini GEARGOD in its card name from among them into your hand. You may only set 1 mini GEARGOD Factory on your field. Once again, this is only going to be used in a deck focused around mini GEARGODs. It's quite useful to kind of counter obviously the 4 card starting hand. It's the beginning of your turn, obviously, annoyingly, so if it was the beginning of like your attack phase or something, no, well, I suppose the beginning of your turn makes sense. Yeah, it's okay if you're going to run in that build. But yeah, so that does it for Chaos. Next, we will move on to Thunder Empire. So, once again, beginning with their secret pack. This is the main card. This is Thunder Army Corps Leader Balbats. Obviously, Dragon World, size 2, Thunder Empire Dragon, 13/6. Cost to pay 2 gauge. During your turn, this card cannot be destroyed, which is your standard Bats effect. At the beginning of your attack phase for this turn, this card gets double attack. Then, if there are 3 or more, I assume that is different world names, in your drop zone, for this turn, this card gets triple attack. So that's quite interesting. Obviously, you don't have to wait till you're at 4 life or less to get a triple attack Bats, which is pretty good. It's obviously got high attack, standard 2 crit. And then the overturn of discard a card from your hand. During your turn, discard a card from your hand. For this turn, this card gets +1 critical for each world name in your drop zone. So I assume that's each different once again. I think this is just a Bit of missing wording here. But yeah, so obviously you can pump this guy up massively. He's probably going to be triple attack because the triple attack condition isn't hard to meet in the Thunder Empire FANG'S build. So yeah, this card's very much a powerhouse on its own. But obviously it's got the threat of being bounced or kind of being anything else kind of happening to it. So, you know, crystallization phenomenon can stop this card, anything like that. It doesn't have penetrate also, which is probably good. There are ways of giving it penetrate, but that it doesn't have a passive, which means it's harder to gain. But yeah, if your opponent has an open center or anything like that, this will just absolutely ruin them. I think the other Barbats is better, but I can see this being ran a few copies. It can be pretty good. Obviously, the high attack as well means it can run over a lot of Prison Dragon stuff with the triple attack. So, you know, if your opponent is on an Athora, if they've used the overkill or they're not ready to use it yet, you can kind of go at that Athora, kind of force them to use it. Obviously, it's gonna force the triple attack because it's passive. But yeah, this card is okay. Obviously, I think there's better bats, but I can see it being used as just like a powerhouse card. Next, we have Overturn Knight El Quixote. Dungeon World Size 1, Adventurer, Knight, and Thunder Empire. Adventurer and Knight are kind of getting lumped together now. They're pretty much the same attribute, but there are certain cards that still one or the other. But I think in this set, all the Adventurers are Knights as well, and vice versa. So anyway, yeah, it's 4/2/1. If you are equipped with an item, this card gets move. Overturn. If the link attack of this card is nullified, pay 1 gauge. For this turn, this card's link attack cannot be nullified. So this obviously is going to see more play in Adventurers. I believe it's a size 1, so you can combine it with your bats. I think the idea is what you can do is combine it with Corpse Leader. So actually no, because then you can only use Overturn once. So I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore that. But I mean in terms of like if your opponent's at a very low life, you can link attack with something with a decent crit, or even with normal bats, that's 4 crit, and then they essentially, as long as you've got a gauge, you win essentially. So yeah, I can see it being used for stuff like that, but I think it's going to see more play in Adventurers than Thunder Empire. I think Thunder Empire have a lot of options. Your Thunder Empire build now is basically bats and stuff that gains you advantage. Anything that makes you draw, searches, gauge, anything like that with a bats, that's going to be what your main effects are. But, you know, this could see some use in Thunder Empire, but as I said, probably mostly Adventurer and Knights. Next is Overturn Ice King Miseria. Dungeon and Legend World, size 3, Dungeon Enemy, Demon Lord, Water, and Thunder Empire, 8/2/6. Core cost, put up to 1 spell from your drop zone into this card's soul, and pay 2 gauge. Overturn. During your main phase, pay 2 gauge, nullify the abilities of all cards on your opponent's field, and shuffle all of each fighter's hand, drop zone, field, and gauge into the deck except this card. Then each fighter draws 6 cards and puts the top 2 cards of their deck into the gauge. Double attack, Soul Guard, Lifelink 2. This is a really, really interesting card. I really like the effect. I don't know how useful it's going to be, or you know, kind of what it's going to be like. It's a hefty gauge cost, but I suppose you get that back, to be fair. So yeah, it basically is a full field reset, and then it's got double attack, so you're going to wipe your opponent's board. I think it returns one to deck as well, so it gets over a lot of stuff. You nullify effects. I think that would get over GEARGOD because there's nothing that stops it being returned to the deck, only destroyed or to hand, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, this is interesting. I don't know how much play it's going to see in Thunder Empire, if any. It's obviously meant for like a Miseria build or something like. I don't know. Even then, like I don't know how useful it can be in like Asgard. It's not an Asgard card itself. You're not discarding anything. They're all going back to the deck or destroying anything. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think there's plays with this card I'm not seeing. Because I think it can be good. Obviously, I'm loving the art on the SP as well. It's really nice. But yeah, we'll see about this card. I'm not 100% sure on this. To be honest, I don't know where it's going to be useful. So yeah, I'm not well versed in in the kind of Miseria Legend build. So next is Thunderblade Joker. Once again, Dungeon and Legend World, size 0. Dungeon enemy, Demon Lord, Thunder Empire. Power 2000, critical 1, defense 1. The monster on your center gets critical +1. So this is probably going to be mostly used in a Miseria build. Thunder Empire isn't a closed center card, isn't a closed center build even. So yeah, once again, I don't know why this is in the Thunder Empire pack, because it's not going to really be used in Thunder Empire. But yeah, it's just nice to see Joker. Next we have Dragon Fang's Iron Wall. It's a Dragon World spell, Thunder Empire and defense. You may only cast this card during attack on your opponent's turn if you do not have a monster on the center. Counter, nullify that attack, then you may pay 1 gauge. If you do, for this turn, the next time you would deal damage, it is reduced by 2. Why do Thunder Empire have this card? Why? They don't need more. Well, I suppose they do need more defense. That is their weakness. Because they're open center, if they don't have the defense spells, they'll get run through. This essentially is almost like a double null. So you nullify the first attack, and the next time you receive damage from anywhere, it's reduced by 2. So that's why, I suppose. It's really good. It's a gauge. You kind of play around it as well. So like you can, if your opponent uses this, you can then swing in for something for with 1 crit, or if you have for some reason have a card with 0 crit. Actually no, I don't think that will count. But yeah, anyway, if you have something out for 1 crit, swing with that. If they don't block that attack, they're basically, they've saved themselves 1 damage, and then you can swing in with something more powerful. But yeah, this is quite an card. I think this card is going to see a lot of play, or maybe even in main deck and sideboard against certain stuff. It's useful against chaos. It's useful against stuff that has multi-attacking. The mirror match, anything like that. Yeah, this card's going to see play. It's a good card. Now, moving on to cards outside of the secret pack. Thunder Empire get a triple rare spell in this set. This is the key that connects the worlds. Dragono, I think that's how you say that. Dragon World spell, only attributes Thunder Empire. You may only cast this card during your opponent's turn if there are 5 or more different world names in your drop zone. So it's obviously only be able to use in Thunder Empire as of right now, because it's the only attribute. Anyway, cast cost puts all cards on your field into the drop zone. Discard your hand and draw 6 cards. For this turn, you cannot deal damage. At the end of your next turn, you lose the game. You may only cast the key that connects worlds, Dragono, once per game. Obviously, you can only cast it once per game because you're going to lose at the end of your next turn. So you can only cast this on your opponent's turn. This is very similar to the Asterism effect, the card Star Dragon World got 2 sets ago, when it was like you can't lose for this turn, but if you don't kill your opponent next turn, you lose, kind of thing. I don't know why this is a triple rare. I kind of wish they'd put this in the secret pack instead, and maybe made like Miseria or El Quixote a triple rare instead. Because that kind of be better for people that just want to make those decks and don't have to buy secret pack stuff. But yeah, this is, I don't know if it's going to be played, to be honest. I can't see it being that useful. I get why it's a thing. It will save you against like your opponent's overturn kind of turn. If your opponent, I can see it being sideboard against Prison Dragons, I suppose. But there's kind of other options for that I'll go into in a minute. But yeah, I really don't know about this card. I don't think it's going to see play. I could be proven wrong, but I don't know. I don't think it should be a triple rare though. Next, they have a double rare of War Diplomat Diamond. Dragon World size 3, Thunder Empire and Dragon 725. Core cost of put the top card of your deck into this card's soul and pay 1 gauge. If there are 2 or more world names on your field, reduce the size of this card by 2. So if you have 2 different world names on your field, it's a size 1. When this card attacks, if there are 3 or more different world names in your drop zone, destroy a card on your opponent's field and Soul Guard. Yeah, this is okay. Is it double rare worthy? Not 100% sure. Having Soul Guard can be pretty good. It means it's going to stay on your field. If you had double attack, it'd probably be really, really good. because then you can call out bats, have this with double attack to crit, you can activate overturn, stuff like that, get more attacks off, destroying stuff in your opponent's field. It is cards as well, not just monsters, so yeah, it's good. How much play it's going to see, I don't know. It's probably like a 2 of or something, if it's being run at all. But yeah, it's there. Next, on Thunder Empire, this once again is an El Quixote, also an Adventurer Knight, size 2, 724. Core cost of put this card on top of a monster on your field and pay 1 gauge. All Knight and Thunder Empire on your field get penetrate. At the end of this card's battle, stand an item on your field, move, and Soul Guard. So this could see playing both. I'm glad it's a size 2 and not a size 1 because of the ability to give everything penetrate. So if this was a size 1 and it could passively give your bats penetrate, that would upset me deeply. So yeah, this card's okay. I believe this card a triple rare. Yeah, it's triple rare. Once again, it's probably going to see more play in Knights. Is it all? Yeah, all Knight and Thunder Empire. So it's not just monsters. So it's your items as well. So yeah, I think this is going to see more play in Dungeon World than Thunder Empire. But you know, there's possibilities there. If it had size reduction as well, or if it were, like I say, if it's size 1, then yes, this card would upset me. Next is Huge Bird Thunderbird. Legend World, size 1, Wider Sakal and Thunder Empire. 2/2/1. When this card enters the field by card effect, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge. Which is pretty good. When this card attacks, if there are 3 or more Thunder Empire or Wider Sakal on your field, draw a card. So this card kind of has synergy with the new spell Wider Sakal have. I'm probably saying that name wrong, by the way, I'm really sorry. But yeah, Thunder Empire don't have many ways to call things out by effect, so it's not going to be that useful in that. Once again, this is probably more useful not in Thunder Empire, but I'm not that versed in the Legend World stuff, so I don't know how viable it will be. But yeah, it's an okay card. It's just a uncommon. Next for items, we have Dragon Fang, Bat's Fang, Dragon Lord item, Thunder Empire and weapon, 5000 power, 2 critical. Equipped cost of 1 gauge. At the beginning of your attack phase, if there are 2 or more different world names in your drop zone, this card gets plus 3000 power, and if there are 4 or more, this card gets double attack and penetrate. So that's quite good. 4 or more is can be quite a difficult thing to hit. I think you mostly, obviously, Dragon World, I think Katana and Magic, maybe? I'm trying to think of all the cards they use. So I don't see how much play it's going to see. It's a rare, so it's not not hard to get hold of because of how viable getting 4 different world names is. At the minute, after the set, it might be different with a few of the Dungeon World spells, stuff like that. But yeah, this is okay. I still think your swords are better, but this is a budget option. Next is Thunder Emperor's Symbol. This is a Dungeon World item, Thunder Empire weapon, 7000 power, 2 critical. The quick cost of 2 gauge, quite heavy for Thunder Empire, but yeah. This card in your field cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is good. You kind of want that in your Thunder Empire build. When a Thunder Empire enters the field, put the top card of your deck into your gauge. This ability only activates once per turn. Once again, this is a shield. If you could equip this with something else, it'd be annoying. And I'd understand why it's 2 gauge. Obviously, you get a gauge back when you call something, and it can't be destroyed by card effects. But there's much better items in Thunder Empire that can't be destroyed by card effects. And this is only really going to be used in Thunder Empire because you only get the gauge when you call a Thunder Empire, nothing else. It obviously has no other Knight or Adventure attributes as well. So yeah, I can't see much play, and it's a rare, unfortunately. But we'll see. It's okay budget-wise, I suppose. Next, for these last few spells they are Thunder Empire, but I think they're quite generic as well. So that's why I've kind of kept them separate. So this is Dragonic Heal Plus counter. You gain 2 life then if you have 5 life or less, or there is a card in your drop zone with Dragonic Heal in its card name. You gain 3 life. You merely cast Dragonic Heal Plus once per turn. So cast it instantly, gain 2 life. Then if you have another copy of this or another Dragonic Heal, or you were at 3 life and you only went up to 5 or less, then gain 5 life in total. So that's pretty decent. I don't know, it's a double rare. Yeah, I suppose it can be good. Life gain is quite useful in Dragon Ball builds, obviously, because they mostly play open center. If you run low on defense spells, this can be quite good. Next is Second Barrier. Once again, Thunder Empire defends, but I think it's quite splashable. You merely cast this card when a size 2 monster on your field is being attacked and you do not have a monster on your center. Counter, choose a size 2 monster on your field, and for this turn, that card cannot be destroyed by battle. So this kind of protects your bats. This protects things like Drum. If you are still going for 5th Omni, which do actually get some support, we'll go into in a minute. But yeah, this is okay. I can see it being used, like I say, outside of Thunder Empire more. You're not that desperate to protect your bats because it's only going to be destroyed on your turn anyway. This doesn't stop bouncing; it's only destroyed by battle. So, and it's being attacked as well. So your bats is still pretty fragile in the main phase on anything that can destroy, or before it, or any time it's not being attacked, basically, that can destroy something. So yeah, this is okay. This might see playing some stuff, but it's specifically size 2, so you know, I think it could be better in something like 5th Omni. Maybe original Jackknife, if you're storing that, if that ever gets support again. So I might pick up a few of them, just in case that does, because I'll play any Jackknife builds. It's available to me. And finally for Thunder Empire, this is Magic Barrier Expansion Device. No one's been talking about this card. I don't know why no one's been talking about this card. I noticed this card as soon as it came out, and it pissed me the hell off. This is set, other than damage dealt by an attack, damage dealt to you is reduced by 1. So this is a big middle finger to the newer Thora. If they activate the Overturn, they're not going to be dealing any burn damage to you at all. So it doesn't matter what you have on the field, how many times they attack, whatever, you're not taking that burn damage. And as well, the abilities of all cards on your field cannot be nullified by your opponent's cards because they needed this as well. This is a very good sideboard option for Thunder Empire. If you run Thunder Empire, I would put this in your sideboard. I haven't seen anyone talking about this. This is a common, uncommon. It's an uncommon. No one else has been talking about this. Don't know why. Put this in your sideboard. Main it if you really want. This is a really, really good card. And this is why I think sets are going to be a bit more prevalent. So hence why I'm going to be running Chestbreaker, because this card can upset me. Also, it kind of brings down penetrate damage, anything like that as well. Anything that burns, just, yeah. So that's it for Thunder Empire. Next, we shall move on to the other kind of Dragon World support in the set. Jumping in to the other triple rare in Dragon World, for Dragon World in the set. This is 5th Omni support. This is 5th Omni Super Cavalry Dragon Sandstorm Staff ARKAD? I don't know. One of those, probably. Size 3, Armor Dragon, Blue Dragon, 6/6. Core cost, put the top card of your deck into this card's soul and pay 2 gauge. When you are dealt damage, put the top card of your deck into your gauge and gain 1 life. Then if it is during your turn, draw a card and call it to 1 monster with 5th Omni in its card name from your hand by paying its core cost, and that card becomes a size 0 until it leaves the field. This ability only activates once per turn, double attack and soul guard. This is a really, really solid card. So I think obviously the idea is call her out, do something that's going to burn you for damage. You're going to gain a gauge, you're going to gain a life, but you're going to gain a life back. You have other stuff like if you have the item equipped, you're going to gain some more life. Then call card, which is basically going to be a 5th Omni Drum, ideally, from what I can tell. It becomes a size 0. So if this was double attack, you have your Drum out. So yeah, and then obviously the gauge and the life on your opponent's turn as well can be pretty nice. The draw on your turn's good. Don't know if this is going to make 5th Omnis dominant again as they were when we got Merrick SD, when they became really, really dominant in the meta last year. But it's a solid card. It brings them back into the game. It's really good support combined with the stuff from Evolution and Mutation. But yeah, I don't know how well it's still going to compete against the current meta stuff. But it's a good card for 5th Omni players that helps keep that deck pretty relevant. So that's it for, that's the only 5th Omni support that you get, unfortunately, specific support anyway, obviously outside of kind of generic spells. Next is the only Dragon Knight, I believe, in the set. This is Dragon Knight INEXHAUSTIBLE. Size 0 Dragon Knight, 2/1/1. When this card enters the field, put the top card of your deck into your drop zone. Yep, and at the end of this card's battle, if there's another Dragon Knight, return this card to your hand. So obviously it's just like a slap in the center, attack with it, bounce back to hand, mill every time you call it. I'm not well versed in Dragon Knights, to be honest, so I don't know how viable this card is. I suppose it can be good just for more attacks. Being size 0 can be bounced back, obviously, from the center for if you have an item or anything like that. I'm sure you still play Dragon Knights open center. Like I said, I'm not well versed in them. Can't say for sure, but yeah, this might be okay. I think it's a common anyway, yeah. So, you know, it's not offending anyone. Next, Sun Dragons get a bit of support again. Bless them. This is Duskbreaker Dragon, size 1 Sun Dragon, 5/1/1. At the start of your final phase, choose a Sun Dragon monster in your drop zone and add it to your hand. So I assume you can add impact monsters because they're still classed as monsters as well. In the final phase, if they're in your drop zone, this is a common. So once again, it's not offending anyone being in here. It doesn't make Sun Dragons any more prevalent. Sun Dragons never really were that strong in the meta and have kind of just got left behind as the sets have gone on. They got like 2 cards in X dual chest that once again don't really do much for them, bless them. This size 1, so it's okay. Yeah, people are probably going to put this in the Sun Dragon builds, but Sun Dragon isn't much of a threatening deck really at the minute anyway. And now we move on to one of the most interesting and talked about new builds in the set, which is Shadow Dragons. And Shadow Dragons are really interesting. They're going to be a real pain to get hold of because you really want a lot of this one specifically, and everyone's going to be after them, especially the foil ones. I can see actually those going for quite a hefty price, just because of how sought after they're going to be. So yeah, if you manage to fully bling out a Shadow Dragon deck, good on you. You have far too much money. So yeah, this is Shadow Dragon. There's one for each. Well, there's 2 for size 3 actually, but there's 1 for each other, different size. This is size 0/1. Only attribute is Shadow Dragon. 1/1/1 stats. You may have as many number of Shadow Dragon. You may have any number of Shadow Dragon in your deck, so you can run as many copies of this card in your deck as you wish. Ability of Follow the Leader. You may pay 1 gauge. If you do, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your drop zone. Then call any number of Shadow Dragon from among the cards placed into the drop zone. By this effect, by paying their core cost, you may only activate this ability once per turn. So, if you notice when looking at this card, when it says you may only have the number of Shadow Dragon, that's in quotation marks, which means it specifically is just this card Shadow Dragon. But when it goes to then call any number of Shadow Dragon, that's, you see the little arrows, that means attribute. So the card you mill, if you mill any of the other Shadow Dragons, the highest sized ones, you can call them off that effect. But you can't have more than 4 copies of them in the deck, if you get what I'm saying there. So yeah, so pay gauge, mill 2. Call, is it any number? Yeah, that are in there. So your deck's mostly Shadow Dragons. So yeah, this card's good. This build is really interesting. I could see it being tier 2 kind of build. It's very inconsistent, I think, but we'll see. I'm probably going to build it myself. I'm going to be researching builds to see how it goes. But anyway, I'll go into the rest of the stuff so you can see how the rest of the deck plays. This is Die Shadow Dragon, size 1 Shadow Dragon, 1/2/1, so just an increase in crit on this one. Core cost of put 1 Shadow Dragon from your field into this card's soul, and put 2 Shadow Dragon from your drop zone into this card's soul, and pay 3 gauge. That is, for the looks of it, specifically the size 0. You have to put one from field, 2 from drop into your drop zone. From drop zone into this card's soul, and 3 gauge. For each card of Shadow Dragon in its card name in this card's soul, all Shadow Dragon on your field getting plus 1000 power. So that includes itself. So Passively, it's going to have 3 just for its core cost. So this becomes, is it just power? Yes, so this becomes 4,421. Soul Guard and Lifelink 1. All these cards have Soul Guard, so they're really interesting, kind of like strong defense cards. Penetrate will ruin them. If you don't, I'm sure the item stops Penetrate. I'll go into that in a minute, but we'll go further into that. But yeah, if you don't have anything to stop Penetrate, you can get ruined by that. Next we have Dread Shadow Dragon. This is the size 2 one. 2/3/1. Put 1 Shadow Dragon from your field into this card's soul, and put up to 5 Shadow Dragon from your drop zone into this card's soul, and pay 3 gauge. For each card with Shadow Dragon and its card name in this card's soul, all Shadow Dragon on your field get power plus 2,000. And then this one has Penetrate, Soul Guard, and Lifelink 2. So an increase in crit once again. This one has Penetrate. The Lifelink is now 2 instead of 1. Yep. Still Soul Guard. And now every Shadow Dragon on your field gets plus 2. So if you have 2 little baby ones out, or you have this and for some reason a Die Shadow Dragon as well somehow, just because of the hefty gauge cost, for these cards to get out, 3 gauge each, they're all getting plus 2,000 power for each one in the soul, and that's going to be 6. So you're getting plus 12 to everything. So you're pretty much running over anything at that point. Next is Inextinguishable Dragon over Shadow Dragon. This is a size 3, 4, 1, 1. Put a Shadow Dragon from your field into this card's soul, and put 6 Shadow Dragon from your drop zone. Yeah, put 1 from your field, 6 from your drop zone into this card's soul, and pay 4 gauge. If this card is on your center, for each card with Shadow Dragon its card name in this card's soul, all Shadow Dragon on your field get plus 1,000 power and plus 1 critical. Soul Guard, Lifelink 3. So once again, you call this out, you have 2 little baby Shadow Dragons at each side. This is going to have 7 soul if you get it out. So you're going to have 3 cards with 8 crit on your field, which is quite scary. Obviously there's ways around that, the Shadow Dragons can easily be popped, stuff like that. But if you can't, this can be quite scary. Obviously this doesn't have Penetrate again either, but yeah. Next we have another one. This is Inextinguishable Dragon, Lord of Shadow Dragons. Size 3, Shadow Dragon, 3, 2, 1. Put 1 Shadow Dragon from your field into this card's soul, and put 9 Shadow Dragon from your drop zone into this card's soul, and pay 3 gauge. For each card with Shadow Dragon its card name in this card's soul, all Shadow Dragon on your field gain plus 3,000 power. Then this card has Penetrate, Double Attack, Soul Guard, and Lifelink 3. So obviously you're not getting very high crits, but you're getting a lot of attack power. This card has Penetrate and Double Attack as well, so it's going to be running through pretty much everything, anything that can be set on the field. So yeah, this is, I don't know, the 2 Extinguishable ones are kind of interchangeable. They're both pretty good. Obviously this is a lot harder to get out, but it means the cards in your field are going to be extremely powerful, but not dealing a heavy crit. But obviously this is Penetrate, so yeah, once again, as I say, it's an interesting build. So next we have Shadow Sword Drago Shadow, which is the weapon for Shadow Dragons. Power of 1, critical of 1. This card can attack even if there's a Shadow Dragon in your center. The soul of Shadow Dragon monsters on your field cannot be put into the drop zone by your opponent's card effects. When a Shadow Dragon monster enters your field from your hand, put the top card of your deck into your gauge. So it helps you build that gauge. It stops your souls being emptied, like it stops getting the your Lord of Shadow Dragons out, and then your opponent's going Loki, and then all that soul is gone, and you've wasted all that time. So yeah, so because of that, it would be better if it couldn't be destroyed as well. But I suppose that's a caveat. Being on crit's fine. I suppose it is Shadow Dragon as well. So one sec, is this going to center? Oh, all Shadow Dragon. Oh right, okay, so that makes Over Shadow Dragon better as well, because it's just Shadow Dragon, not just Shadow Dragon monsters. So this card's power and crit can be pumped as well. So that's pretty interesting. That's pretty good. Next, they have a card of Dragonic Shadow Charge. Put up to 5 Shadow Dragon from your deck into your drop zone and shuffle your deck. If you put 5, put the top 3 cards of your deck into your gauge. So this is pure setup, purely for getting the Shadow Dragons in the drop zone, and purely for getting that gauge, because this deck is very gauge heavy, so you need it. So this card's really good. I'd probably say run this at 4 or at least 3 in the built deck, definitely. And finally, they get an impact of Shadow Dragon Art Dividing Shadow, I believe is that. Impact, core cost, put any number of soul from a Shadow Dragon on your field into your drop zone. Choose all cards in your opponent's field equal to the number of soul sent to the drop zone by this card's core cost and destroy them. Then gain life and deal damage to your opponent equal to the number of cards destroyed. Luckily, this is number of cards destroyed and not soul removed. So then you can't, just like Call Dread the Lord of Shadow Dragons out and then empty 9 soul, because that's pretty scary. There's no core cost for this as well, so that'd be why. But yeah, so it depends how many cards get destroyed on the field, but you gain life. Plus, I suppose it also gives you kind of control. So if you've got a 9 soul card set on the field, you don't need 9 soul per se, maybe, and your opponent has like 3 cards on the field. Is it cards? Yeah, it's cards as well, not just monsters. So yeah, you can just they have like 3-4 cards on the field. You just need to remove 4 to get the maximum effect off. Once again, there is really no core cost, cast cost even. It's just removing soul, and then you can choose how many, because it's any number. So yeah, that's pretty good. And finally, we have 2 generic spells that can't be used in Thunder Empire. In this case specifically, thank God, this is Drago Trap. Pay 1 gauge and 2 life, counter, choose a card in your opponent's field, and for this turn, that card cannot attack. So it doesn't matter what it is, if you're using it against like a Thunder Empire and it's the Balbat, doesn't matter if they use their Overturn or whatever, that card cannot attack. This card's really good. I can see it's been played in a lot of stuff. The 2 life cost is quite heavy, but I mean, in something like Shadow Dragons where you're like primarily defensive, you're setting up something big in the center usually, and you're not worried about life as long as you're not getting penetrated to death. This is pretty good. This is a really good card. It's just splashable in a lot of Dragon World stuff. It's also pay 2 life, not take 2 life as well, I suppose, so it can't be abused by 5th Omni, thank God. But yeah, this is an interesting card. And finally, for Dragon World, we have Dragon Press. Cast cost of pay 1 life, counter, destroy a size 3 monster on your opponent's field. This is probably a sideboard card more than anything. The picture is, I think it's a Shadow Dragon Claw, obviously on top of the Dual Jaeger, but yeah, this is probably sideboard. It's good against Chaos. You can't put this in Thunder Empire either. So yeah, so that will do it for Dragon World. Okay, moving on swiftly, I'm going to try and pick the pace up a bit. Thank you for sticking with me this long if you have. If there's really obvious cuts between me talking about each different world, then it's because I just kind of stopped to take a break and take a drink, because talking for a long time gives me a bit of dry mouth. So yeah, and I kind of want to not have all these in the video, but they're going to be unavoidable. Anyway, as I say, moving swiftly on, this is Dungeon World. So first we're going to start with the 2 new weapons that they get, or like the 2 new double weapons, which is the shield and sword. This is the sword. This is Sword of Glory, Order Edge. It has the attributes of Adventurer, Knight, and Weapon. 3000 power, 2 critical. Equip cost of pay 1 life. If you are equipped with this card, you may equip Shield of Glory, Order Guard. Now, there's the rulings with all the other double weapons. If you already have the shield equipped, you can equip this, and they both stay on the field. You don't have to get rid of the shield and then equip another one. The way stuff works is it's the same when I see people talking about size costs. If stuff if you already have a Batsat and you call a Saint Holy Sword Dragon, it's like the card enters the field, and then kind of any kind of passive effect like this is active. And then after all the entry stuff's happened, then there's a check of, are you over your size limit? Do you have too many weapons equipped? Stuff like that. So you can, if you already have the shield equipped, you can equip this. Anyway, it doesn't matter what order you do it in, just to clear that up, if you don't already know. If you are equipped with the shield, this card gets plus 7000 power, and this card's attack cannot be nullified if attacking alone. That's a bit of a weird effect for adventurers and knights, because they're usually based around link attacks, or adventurers anyway. Knights not as much, but something like the new, like the El Quixote, the Overturn one, is based around link attacks, and so a lot of the others. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that, but it's quite good. Moving on to the sword. The quick cost for the sword is pay on gauge. If you're equipped with the Sword of Glory or the Edge, reduce all damage dealt to you other than by card effects by 1, and all items on your field cannot be destroyed. That is a good effect to have. They can't be destroyed because that was the main weakness of the previous 2 weapons. They still can be bounced to hand, obviously, but yeah. So all battle damage is reduced by 1, which is good. It's very good against all these multi-attacking kind of stuff. There's like these little pokes. So that's alright. Obviously, you'll still kind of get chumped by Thora, because that's all effect damage, like the burn damage, stuff like that. But yeah, these 2 are really good. I can see these being played in combination with other stuff. But I don't know. I still don't think it's enough to make the Dungeon World build kind of that relevant in the meta again. But these are good, and I really obviously like the SP arts on them. Next, we'll go on to the other triple rare for this set. For Dungeon World, this is Praise Knight Dict. Yeah, size 1, Adventurer Knight, 2/1. Items on your field cannot be returned to hand by your opponent's card effects, so that eliminates everything. So if your opponent wants to bounce it back to hand, one of your items back to hand, they can't destroy it if you're using the Sword and Shield. And then if this is on the field, they can't bounce them either, so that's pretty good. Success draw. When this card enters the field, for this turn, all items on your field get critical +1, also very good, especially since the sword can't be nulled if it's attacking alone. Then draw cards equal to the number of items on your field, which is really good. Success draw only activates once per turn. This is definitely a triple rare worthy card. It solves a lot of problems for the build. For any kind of dual weapon build dungeon you want to make, like you've got 3 choices of dual weapon now. So yeah, this is runnable in all of them, and I would suggest running it in all of them. It's a good card. Finally for Knight, I think this is the only other card. Oh no, 2 spells, sorry. Well, for Adventurer and Knight anyway. This is Award Ceremony. It is only attribute of Knight. Set. All Knights on your field get +1k attack and defense. And when a Knight on your field attacks and deals damage to your opponent or destroys your opponent's monster, put the top card of your deck into your gauge and gain 1 life. This ability only activates once per turn. So this is okay. I suppose they have room for it as well. If it was a mission card, it'd probably be better instead of just, generic Knight kind of spell. But it is what it is. Next is Hawk's Eye. Dungeon World spell. Pay 1 gauge. Choose one of the following 2. You may only cast Hawk's Eye once per turn. Put 1 adventurer from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck. 1 adventurer item from your deck to your hand and shuffle your deck, or put 1 adventurer monster from your drop zone into your hand. So this is obviously pure adventurer. All the dual weapons, I'm pretty sure adventurer as well. So it's good for getting specific weapons if you need them. There are plenty of other ways of doing that though. Obviously with like form a party, stuff like that. That size 2, I forget his name of. But yeah, this is okay. I think this is only uncommon anyway, so it's easier to get hold of if you haven't got hold of them already. So yeah, this card's okay. Next, we move on to the new Dungeon World kind of shtick, which is this Guardian Dragon kind of egg build. So there's 2 Guardian Dragons. I think this is the main one. This is the double rare one, yep. And I think there's a rare. Is it rare? Yes, and a rare version. So go for the double rare version first. The 2 are kind of similar, but have like kind of different kind of play styles. What you kind of want to go to. So she's a size 3 Dungeon Enemy Dragon, 8/8. Core cost to put the top 2 cards of your deck into this card's soul and pay 2 gauge. Monsters on your left and right with monster egg in their card name cannot be destroyed. We'll go through the monster eggs in a minute. At the end of your turn, call a monster with monster egg in its card name from your drop zone by paying its core cost. Penetrate, Sword Guard, Lifelink 2. So this in combination with the eggs is a really good card. The how kind of deck's very interesting. I think it's a little inconsistent, but I think it's a very interesting build, and I want to see it in practice to see how it goes and what kind of dungeon enemies people combine it with, because you might as well use like strong dungeon enemies that don't have like a high core cost or a big lifelink cost, because you're going to call them out. They're going to be size 0. You're already going to have this on the field. You can start swinging for a lot of damage, put a lot of pressure on your opponent. Next is Golden Born Dragon, Mother Dragon. Once again, size 3 Dungeon Enemy Dragon, 727, so 1k less attack and defense. Core cost, put the top card of your deck into this card's soul and pay, I think it's 2 gauge, I forgot what it is. I don't know why it's not on here. So what's the other one? The other one's 2 gauge, so it probably will be 2 gauge. If it's 1 gauge, I'll be quite surprised for what it is. So we're going to put in 1 card as well. But this one has an interesting effect of, once again, it has monsters on your left and right monster egg in their card name cannot be destroyed, so your opponent can't destroy your eggs. When you would call a monster except from hand, you may reduce the gauge paid for its core cost by 3. Double attack, soul guard, and lifelink 2. So we'll go for the monster eggs and make basically the monster eggs call monsters and make them size 0, but you still have to pay the core cost. So this has double attack with a little lower stats. It doesn't have penetrate. I think the other one has. So yeah, so this one, the double has penetrate. This one has double attack. So it's both have their merits, but this one means you can call the cards for less gauge, which can be very useful if you haven't played any spells that have kind of got you that advantage. So yeah, it's also a pretty good option as well. So you can run both of them. It's good that you have 2 as well, just to help the consistency, because you really need to be throwing this down in your center. So first we'll go of the monster eggs. There's 3. We'll first have Gold Monster Egg. So core cost of pay 1 gauge. At the beginning of your main phase, you may put this card from your field into your drop zone. If you do, look at the top 6 cards of your deck, choose a size 3 or less monster from among them, call it by paying its core cost, put the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. The monster is treated as size 0 until it leaves the field. So once again, this is the main kind of shtick of the deck. It's beginning of the main phase, unfortunately, so you kind of have to get one out. This is kind of why Nativity has the end of your turn. Yep, so you call it out, and your opponent really has to try and bust through the Nativity Dragon, otherwise that egg's going to hatch you on your turn, and it's going to bring out a real powerful monster. So yeah. Next we have Silver Dragon Egg. Now this has no core cost, but it's the exact same effect, apart from you only check the top 3, I believe. Yeah. So both have the same stats, but gold you pay 1 gauge, but you look at the top 6. Silver you don't pay gauge, you look at the top 3. So pretty simple. And finally, Monster Egg, size 0, same stats. At the beginning of your main phase, you may put this card on your field into your drop zone. If you do, look at the top 6 cards of your deck. Choose a size 1 or less monster from among them, call them by paying its core cost, put the remaining cards on the bottom of the deck in any order. That monster is treated as a size 0 until it leaves the field. You mostly want to use gold and silver to kind of get your main size 3s. This can be used to get out gold and silver, honestly, but then these eggs are just taking longer and longer turns to get stuff out. So this is where kind of the inconsistency comes. And this deck is you're very reliant on having Nativity Dragon, you're very reliant on your eggs, you're very reliant on then when you check the top 6 or 3 having a card you really want. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know what else you can really call for this being size 1. Like you said, you're mostly using dungeon enemies, so they're mostly size 3s, unless there's like a good adventure or anything like that you want to run in the deck in the builds that could be useful. There might be. I haven't looked that much into this yet, so this might see some decent play, to be fair, but so I don't want to speak too soon. But yeah, finally they get a set spell, which is when this card is set on your field, call up to 1. When you set this card on your field, call up to 1 monster and Mother Dragon its card name from your deck by paying its core cost. So that is very good, and shuffle your deck. For each monster on your field with monster in its card name, the monster on your center gets plus 3,000 defense. So once again, good set spell. This set is full of them. This really helps the deck out, and this is very essential. And is this not only set 1? So you can set multiple of this. So that's pretty scary. So you can like massively power up the defense of, well, you can give it 6-12 defense if you set 2, and so on and so forth. So that's quite dangerous actually. This might not be the full effect yet. This might have only, I assume you can only set 1 of these at a time. Otherwise, that's gonna be scary. I'll clarify that hopefully when it comes out with an annotation or something. yeah, this is a good card anyway. In general, even if it is only, you can only set one. You only set one on the field. Very good card. And finally, for Dungeon World, we just have this random dungeon enemy. I don't even know what rarity is, to be honest. He's probably, I think he's a rare or an uncommon. Ice Form Gracia. Size 3 dungeon enemy Demon Lord 10/3/6. Cost pay 2 gauge. When this card would leave the field, you may discard 2 cards from your hand. If you do, this card remains on the field and deal 1 damage to your opponent. I don't know what this is for, honestly. I think this is just kind of a just a bit of a space filler, I suppose. I don't know. I'm not that versed in Dungeon Enemy, but I don't feel like they have a huge hand to be able to be constantly doing this, so I'm not sure. This card's weird to me, so there. So yeah, that'll do for Dungeon World. Now let's move on to Legend. So we will start with Legend with the one everyone's after to build. This is the new hero weapon build, and this card is your main focus. This is Demonic Descent Sword of the King. Demonic Descent? Yep, Demonic Descent Sword of the King, Leviathan. Legend item, hero weapon Chaos. 10,000 power, 2 critical. This card can be your buddy. Quick cost, if there is no monsters on your field, pay 2 gauge. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. You cannot put monsters on your field, and you may equip any number of items. That's the whole gimmick of this deck. You can just equip a buttload of items. The items in your hand gain an additional equip cost of pay 1 gauge. So if you call them from anywhere else, they don't, but if you call them from your hand, you have to pay an extra gauge into addition. So if they have 0 call cost, you have to pay gauge. If they have 1, it becomes 2, and so on. Overkill. During your turn, pay 1 gauge and discard a card from your hand. Put the top 5 cards of your deck into your drop zone and equip up to 3 items from among those cards without paying their equipped cost. So, the whole point of this deck, I think, pretty much is to rush your opponent out. It's an OTK kind of build, as far as I'm aware. So you get this out as soon as possible. If you don't go first, if you're going second, or if you've gone first, your opponent's got an issue again. You get this out, you overkill straight away to just flood your field with items, and then unlimited blade works your opponent to death, basically. So yeah, that's the idea of the deck, and then we get plenty of swords to go with this, on top of the ones we already have. All hero weapons, so you can combine it with like hero support. Spells, obviously you're not going to be using monsters. This is Fabricated Sword of the King, Caladborg Replica. 2 power, 2 crit. Other than damage dealt by attack, damage dealt to you is reduced by 1. So this is obviously anti-Athora, because that deck will ruin you, because you call so many cards. If they activate the Overturn and you don't have this out, you are probably going to die to burn damage before anything else. So that's kind of the counter to that. No equip cost, but it will cost 1 if you have Leviathan already out. Word of advice as well, if you have Leviathan and you have like something in hand and nothing else in your field, call 1 item first, then call Leviathan, because you won't have to pay another gauge to get it out. Because once again, it's the same effect as the Shield and Sword. As soon as it enters the field, its effect's active, so you can have that item on the field. So keep that in mind when using this. I've seen many people like playtesting this and go Leviathan straight away, and then no, I have to pay gauge for stuff, and they could have called something first. Anyway, equip something first. Sword of the King, Sheath Suitcloth. This is an essential card for this, because the deck lives and dies by you getting Leviathan out, and this searches it out. So this is 3,000 power, 1 crit. When you equip this card, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, put up to... Oh no, it's Sword of the King. Oh no, this is Sword of the King. Yeah, I was right, sorry. Ignore that. If you do, put up to 1 card with Sword of the King and its card name from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck. So yeah, I'd max this out, because 1, it's getting you another item to hand anyway, and 2, it will get you Leviathan, and you need Leviathan. You need to be into Leviathan. So yeah. Next, Fabricated Sword of the King, Dane Scythe Replica. Hero weapon, 6,000 power, 1 crit. Equip cost of pay 1 life. It has a skill that has a name. When this card attacks and does damage to your opponent or destroys a monster on your opponent's field, put the top card of your deck into your gauge and gain 2 life. If there are 3 or more hero on your field, draw a card. And that skill can only be activated once per turn. So yeah, that's pretty good. 2 gauge life and draw. Always good, so this is probably going to see some play. It's a quick cost of 1 life, obviously, which you're going to get more than back with the 2 life gain. So yeah, this is a pretty good weapon. I can see it's been used. Next, Fabricated Sword of the King, Armus Replica. 5 power, 1 crit. Counteract during an attack on your opponent's turn, pay 1 life, and put this card into the drop zone. If you do, nullify the attack. So obviously you have no monsters, so you are very open center. So if your opponent's swinging in for a massive attack, you can just pay 1 life instead, nullify the attack, and get rid of this. But you can have multiples of these equipped, so it's not a once per turn effect. So you can just pay life to kind of stop yourself being killed by like stuff with high crit, you know, chaos, stuff like that. So this will be run at high number as well. Fabricated Sword of the King, Replica. These names are killing me. Power 5000, critical 1, a quick cost of 1 gauge, which obviously will become 2. At the end of this card's battle, if you're equipped with 4 or more items for this turn, this card gets double attack and has equipment change. So, I'm not entirely sure what equipment change is for in like the Laverton build, because you're pretty sure you just equip as much things as possible anyway. You don't need to swap them out, but I suppose this is if you want to use it in an old hero build, but then I don't know why you would use this, because you're not going to have 4 more items on the equipped. So I'm probably missing something there, but I don't know how useful equipment changes in Laverton. Fabricated Sword of the King, Nagelring Replica. 1000 power, 2 critical. When this card attacks, if you have 2 more hero on your field, put the top card of your deck into your gauge and equipment change. Now this makes more sense having equipment change because this can be used in other hero builds. So 0 quick cost gives you gauge for nothing. So yeah, this can be splashed in a few builds, but I can see it being run in both as well. Fabricated Sword of the King, Graham Replica. 6000 power, 2 crit, quick cost to pay on gauge. When this card attacks, you gain 1 life. And equipment change. Is this? It's common, yeah, probably. I mean, obviously, it's a replica. It's got the chaos symbol on it, even though it's chaos. So it's probably meant for Laverton. I suppose it just helps fill up space, but this is probably one of the ones you run at a low number because it's not overly great. Obviously, this one's better because you gain 2 life and more effects. And this will cost 2 gauge to get out instead of a gauge and a life. But that's probably why this is a common. Is that a high rarity card? That's just a rare. Oh, so that's not too bad. Is that what I was on to next? Yeah. Fabricated Sword of the King, Mistiltian Replica. 3000 power, 3 critical, quick cost to pay on gauge. When this card attacks, if the attack is not a link attack, the attack cannot be nullified and the damage cannot be reduced. So that's very good. Obviously high crit. Yeah, it can't be nullified. Standard all around. Finally, I think for hero weapons, this is I suppose this is minuses. Yep, treasure, Sword of the King Gallery. So once again, even though it's a gallery, it's Sword of the King, so it can be searched. 0 power and 0 crit. The effects of all hero on your field cannot be nullified. Very good. All hero on your field get plus 1000 power. Useful. Counteract. Choose one of your other hero. You may pay on gauge and rest this card. If you do, stand that card. Oh, you don't say. So there we go. Stand this twice. 6 crit. Can't be nulled or reduced. Pretty good. Obviously, it's a little inconsistent with getting all this stuff out. What you run numbers of in this build is going to be interesting. Obviously, you have a lot of gauge. You can have multiple of these equipped. This doesn't seem to be any kind of once per turn restriction. So yeah, the combination of this and multiple of these can be very good. Obviously, you'd need Laverton out as well, but yeah. Next, we move on to weapons that help out hero. This is Fable of the Sword Sage. You may only cast this card if you're equipped with a hero item. Pay 1 life. Choose up to one of the following 2. You may only cast Fable of the Sword Sage once per turn. You may discard a hero from your hand if you do draw 2 cards. That helps consistency. It's always good. For this turn, all hero items on your field get plus 7000 power. So that just helps them get over brick walls if you pretty much set up. But it's probably going to be mostly used for the drawing effect. And I believe that's a double rare. I can't remember. Next, Advice of Merlin. Just a hero spell. You merely cast this card if you have a hero on your field. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck from among them. Put from those cards, put 1 into the gauge, put 1 hero from among them into your hand, and put the rest into your drop zone. You only cast Advice of Merlin once per turn. Basically Daryl Burke-ish in a spell, but 1 goes to the gauge. It has to be specifically a hero, so yeah, that's pretty good. Once again, helps with consistency in both the sword and normal hero build. Genius Flash, spell hero, choose one of the following 2. For this turn, all items on your field get penetrate. I'm sure I've read this card before, I just read it again, and that's real dumb. That's real dumb. Counter, put an item from your field into drop zone. If you do, gain 4 life. This will be a high number run-off card. Ooh, go away, whatever you are. Windows feature update. Thank you. Yeah, this will be ran at a high number because that is very good. The penetrate effect, anyway, and the gain 4 life, because a lot of cards in this seem to want you to pay life. So, oops, sorry, I'm trying to find my charger hasn't come out, and I need to charge my laptop. Yeah, a lot of stuff is paying life, so you can kind of run out of it really quick. You're also an open center heavy deck. So yeah, I can see it's running at a high number, even if you don't really need the penetrate. If your opponent's an open center or stuff like that. But against stuff like chaos, anything like that, that penetrate is going to be really useful. And the life gain is also welcome. Finally, that which cannot yield is the final hero card I think we're going to go through. Cast a pay on gauge. Counter, choose a hero on your field and destroy a monster on your opponent's field with equal or lower power than the chosen card. Yeah, it's okay. It's counter. Counter destruction is always good. That'll pretty much destroy anything that basically can be destroyed by effects, because you have a lot of the weapons have pretty high powers. Anywhere between like 5 and 8. So yeah, it's okay. Next, Legend will get a really good defense spell. Although this is the final hero spell, I say this for last for a reason because it's really good. You only cast this card when you're being attacked. Counter, nullify the attack. Then, if you're on equipped with an item, put up to 1 hero not named Bloody Holy Grail from your drop zone to hand. So this can add any of your items, obviously. If your opponent goes first and you've somehow managed to get Labor Turn into the drop zone, adds it back to hand, or if you don't have it later in the game, whatever. But this also gets back the original Holy Grail, so you basically get double nulls if that's in the drop zone, because you're going to be running original Holy Grail anyway, because you need that defense. So this is really, really good, and is a triple rare for that exact reason. Next, we move on to everyone's favourite archetype, which is Toilets. This is Reborn Hanako of the Toilet. Fairy Toilet 729. This card can only enter the field by the effect of a toilet, like the original Hanako. When this card enters the field, return all cards on your opponent's field to the hand and deal damage to your opponent equal to the number of cards returned. Triple attack. So this is like a slight variation on the original Hanako. This is good to play in combination with the other one. The old one destroyed all cards on your opponent's field, but you gained life instead of dealing damage equal to the number of cards destroyed, whereas this is bounce cards and deal damage equal to the number of cards. So this is much better against something like Thunder Empire, against like bats that can't be destroyed. If you can get that, you can use the weapon effect to call her out, and then bounce the whole field back, pretty much ending your opponent's turn and dealing damage to them. And then you go in with, as long as she stays on the field, triple attack for 2, and then you can be equipping more stuff. So yeah, she is really good. Really helps Toilet. I think she's a rare. Wow. Okay. And the second bit of support Toilet get is Anemic Demon Clot Dracula. That's not what you hear from a Toilet card. 3/2/1. When this card enters the field, put 1 toilet from your deck into your drop zone. Very good. Helps setup. That can help Professor Medju as well, whatever he's called. When this card is put into the drop zone from field, put the top card of your deck into your gauge, and put 1 soul from a card on the field into the drop zone. So that can either be yours or your opponent's, so you can empty your toilet of soul. Or if your opponent's got some soul, get rid of that as well. It's pretty good. Next, move on to Asgard. This is powerful fighting god Nagni. Legend World, size 3, Asgard deity, 7/7. Put the top card of your deck. Yeah, put the top card of your deck into this card's soul and pay 2 gauge. Act, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, choose one of the following 2. You may activate this ability once per turn. Stand with this card. or for this turn, the next time this card would be destroyed, nullify its destruction, double attack, Soul Guard. So, obviously discarding in Asgard, very good. You're getting effects off, stuff like that. And it's for productive effects, so you're either going to stand it on your turn or nullify its destruction on your opponent's turn. You can only do them once per turn, yeah, but obviously you probably don't want to be using it more than once per turn anyway, otherwise you're going to run out of hand real quick. But yeah, he's okay, he's good. Asgard support. Mimi Spurner. That's how you say it. Asgard and Deity. Cast cost. Discard a card from your hand. Put the top card of your deck into your gauge. Choose and put up to one size 3 Asgard from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck. And then in here, for some reason, it's called. You may only cost 1 Well of Mimir once per turn. So I'm guessing that's what it's called. Yeah, so that's okay. That's good for Asgard. It's good for finding stuff, and obviously for searching him out if you want to use him or Kiris or anything like that. He's a rare, and this is a uncommon, so you know they're not going to be expensive to get hold of. Next, the one card support for Star in this set is Unleashed Vergen. Yep. 1/2/2. When this card is discarded from your hand, choose a card from your drop zone, and you may put it into the soul of a star on your field. So that's pretty good. That's also good for Zodiac, if you're still repping Star Zodiac. Counteract, if there is another star on your field, you may put this card from your field into your drop zone. If you do, for this turn next time, you'll be out damage. It is reduced by 2. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Size 1. It's okay. Earth Fairy Gnome. Size 1. Wider Sakal. 3/2/1. If there are 3 or more Wider Sakal on your field, all on your field cannot be destroyed by card effects nor returned to hand. Very good. Then, when this card is sent to the drop zone from field or hand, choose a spell on your opponent's field and destroy it. Yeah, that's okay. That's solid support as far as I'm aware. Like I said, I'm not well versed in Legend World, but yeah. And finally, for Legend World, we have Folklore of Wider Sakal. To summon, cast cost of pay 1 gauge 1 life. Choose up to 2 size 2 or less Wider Sakal monsters from your drop zone and call them to different areas by paying their core cost. You only cast one of these once per turn. So that's okay. Once again, I don't know enough about other Legend World builds to comment on how viable it's going to be. Just from looking at it, nothing is going to be particularly meta for Legend World outside of Hero Sword. And even then, it's interesting because if your opponent can bounce Leviathan to your hand, then that's game because it bounces back to hand. All those items have to go. You have to go back down to 1 item. So yeah, you ideally, I assume you can equip multiple Leviathan, but then it's going to cost 3 gauge to call it out, unless you get another one via the Overturn. But yeah, if you can bounce it back to your hand, that basically kills the deck. And there are multiple bounce cards kind of running around at the minute. So yeah, that'll do for Legend World, and now we'll move on to our final clan. Obviously, I've saved the best for last, in my opinion. Star Dragon World, the best, in my personal biased opinion. But yeah, I'm going to leave Prison Dragons to last because I'm going to talk quite a bit about them. I'm going to go through a tiny bit of the support for other Star Dragon World builds. As mentioned before, this is the other card support for Neo Dragons. This is Dragon Arms Return Bit, size 1 Dragon Arms, 3/2/1. Act, call this card from the soul of a Neo Dragon on your field. At the end of battle, this card, you may put this card from your field into the soul of a Neo Dragon on your field. I get why this exists. It's not good. I mean, it'd be better if the first bit of the skill was a counter. So, if you had some stuff on the field, you could attack with something, then call this out over it, attack with this, and then it runs away. That will put a bit more pressure on, but the fact you have to do it in the main phase is just a standard act. It doesn't even have cross knives as well to begin with, so that's annoying. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of this card. I'm not going to be using it. Once again, I'll collect it in case it becomes useful. But I get why. I suppose it's if you don't have anything else, it gives you a monster, like an additional attack, but you usually do, and that like, oh, what if I don't, isn't worth me running this card at all. So yeah, the Neo Dragon support is in this set is pretty trash, honestly. Moving on to Cosmo Dragoons, this is I-20 Asimov. Cosmo Dragoon 922. Pay 2 gauge and put the top card, and put this card on top of a Cosmo Dragon on your field. When this card attacks with the top card of your deck, if the revealed card is a Cosmo Dragon, return all Cosmo Dragon. For this turn, all Cosmo Dragon on your field get double attack and penetrate. You may activate this ability once per turn. Soul Guard. This is a solid card. This is really, really good, and it's only a rare, I believe. Yes, this is really good support for Cosmo Dragoons. It gives everything double attack, and penetrate. So I don't know if it's possibly a 4 of, maybe 3, because you've got a lot of good size 2s with Burberry and the other one. Is it Clark? I think it's Clark. Yeah, are both very good. So your size 2, you're kind of spoiled for choice now. Cosmo Dragoons for size 2. This is a very solid card. I'm going to play test this and see what's going to be good. And our other monster for Cosmo Dragoons is LD15 Bracket. Breaks it? Yeah. 3/2/1. Counteract. Drawing an attack on your opponent's turn. Reveal the attack card of your deck. If the revealed card is a Cosmo Dragoon, nullify the attack. Then put the reveal card on the bottom of the deck. You may use this ability once per turn. That's really good. That's cool. She's a solid 2 crit as well, so you know she'll be very useful if you're a 2 crit that can have double attack and penetrate. Is going to be good. So yeah, she's going to be put in the deck as well. Once again, I'm not sure on the numbers of this stuff yet. It doesn't make Cosmo Dragoons any more relevant than they already are. It improves them a little bit, but I don't think it moves them anywhere in the meta. They get a weapon. This is Star Dragon Lance Andro Sheep. Is I think what it's called in the original one. Obviously a reference to the original book that Blade Runner was based on. This is a quick cost. Pay 1 gauge 1 life. It has 6,000 power 2 crit. Act. Choose a Cosmo Dragoon in your drop zone. You pay 1 gauge. If you do, reveal the top card of your deck. If the revealed card is Cosmo Dragoon, put the chosen card into your hand. Then put the revealed card on the bottom of your deck. You may only use this ability once per turn. This is okay. This is consistency, getting something specific back into your hand. But you're probably best storing the other weapon at more, because that gives you the setup to guarantee your Cosmo Dragoons on the top of your deck. But this helps out that a lot. This is the final card. This is Space Colony Daily Life. This is a Cosmo Dragoon set spell. All Cosmo Dragoon on your field get power plus 3,000, which is very good. Helps them get over high defense stuff. Counteract. Look at the top card of your deck. You may put it on the top or bottom of your deck. This ability on your deck is once per turn. You may activate one Space Colony Daily Life on your field. So yeah, once per turn, just check the top card. Once during your turn, once during your opponent's turn. Make sure there's a Cosmo Dragoon on the top. If there's not, send it to the bottom. This is a fantastic spell. So, let's move on to the Prison Dragons, which is what the main set's kind of aimed around. Let's start with their secret pack. This is probably going to be... Actually, I don't know. Will it be the most expensive secret pack? It might be. There's a lot of hype around this Athora, for good reason. It's Prison Dragon and Thunder Empire. Even though you're probably not going to run it in Thunder Empire. It's a weird option. I'd like to see a build, maybe. But it's mainly Prison Dragon. 8,000 power, 2 critical, 8,000 defense. Core cost, put the top card of your deck into this card's soul and pay 3 gauge. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects, and you cannot be dealt damage by card effects. Standard Athora stuff. Overturn. When a card on your opponent's field attacks, pay 1 gauge and discard a card. During this turn, this card cannot be destroyed, and all cards on your opponent's field must attack alone as many times as possible. Change the target of all attacks to this card and deal 1 damage to your opponent each time this card is attacked. Double attack, Soul Guard. This is an amazing overturn. This is probably one of the best overturns there is, outside of the stand everything on your field. It really puts your opponent in a bad place and really helps you kind of control the flow of the game, because you slam this down and then your opponent has a choice of, do they call out full field and just let you do your overturn and then they're at risk of getting impacted or killed next turn because they can deal a lot of burn damage, or do they not do much on their turn and not take the risk? The caveat to this is it only gets 1 soul. You can obviously build the soul up with other stuff, but yeah, this is a really good card. Also in combination with like any kind of weapons that's going to give it 2 power and defense, it's going to be solid 10-10, which is really good stats against anything. So yeah, I like this card a lot. I think it's going to be very good. A lot of the stuff in this set helps with consistency of Prism Dragons, which was their problem. If you destroyed their center, they didn't have the gauge or anything else to call. You just basically run through them then, or you didn't start strong with a good Athora. Yeah, so Aldo in combination with the original Athora and some other stuff, this is going to be a really good deck. I don't know how well it's going to be overall. I still think it could have consistency issues, so we'll see. But I think we're going to see this deck a lot. I think this is a solid choice of deck, and it very heavily counters what is currently the meta right now and will continue to be the meta going forward, which is Chaos and Thunder Empire. So next, the second card in the secret pack, this is Spyrotas SD, size 0, Prism Dragon, 2/1/1, Prism Dragons on your center get counterattack. I think there's far better options for size 0 in Prism Dragons than this, one of which I'm saving for the end, which is very good in this set. But you know, your red, your Tear Dragon, your Thora SD, I think they're better. I get why this is a thing. I get it because you put this down, you use your Overturn, it blows up your opponent's field. But I don't know why you'd kind of want it, because say you have something with double attack that doesn't have Soul Guard, it's going to get an extra attack out of that card, and they're going to burn more damage, which means that your opponent's easier to kill. Whereas if it has counter attack, it will just destroy that card before it has its second attack. So yeah, I don't think this is worth anyone's time. Unless for other builds, maybe variable, but in the main, competitive Athora build, I don't think this is going to see any play. Next is Mirror Valley. This is a very controversial card. It's been very, very hyped up. It's a very good card, but I think it's still a sideboard card. It's kind of just countered to some stuff. Set spell, opens dragon monsters in your field, cannot be destroyed, nor returned to hand by card effects, and cannot be moved to different areas. So this is very much a counter towards like Darkness Dragon World control kind of plays. They can't, Sturban Wand, whatever it's called, you Athora out from the center. They can't kind of destroy it, or is it bounce stuff back to your hand? Magic World can't bounce stuff back to hand. They have to deal with this first before they do that, which is possible still. This is why it's like a not complete out, because a lot of control stuff have a lot of options. They'll destroy this and then they'll bounce back to hand. But it's viable for certain stuff. It stops Edward the Chaos, because Chaos can't destroy spells very easily. Stuff like that. So it stops your opponent, because you only have that one soul in that Aldo Athora. You really want to keep it there as much as possible. So this kind of helps that. And then when your opponent's card attacks, change the target of the attack to a Prism Dragon on your center. Once again, with that Athora being 10k defense, that's really good, because it forces your opponent to link attack or think about how they're going to play. So yeah, Mirror Rally is a good card. I don't even know if it is. You can main it, but I think it is. It's a strong sideboard card. Next is Prismatic Prisma. You only cast this card if you have a Prism Dragon on your center. Counter, choose one of the following two. For this turn, your monster on your center gets 3000 power and defense, or stand a monster on your field. This is a good card. I'm not sure if Prisms have the room for it, to be honest. I think there's much better options to help with the consistency of the deck. This is kind of almost like a Ruler's Privilege, but Ruler's Privilege is better because, that final stand can finish off your opponent, where Prisms aren't that aggressive. You're ideally going to finish them usually with the impact or with like the burn damage of the Overturn. So an extra attack, which is what this is probably going to be used for most, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think, like I said, this card's good. I don't think there's room for it, honestly, but I could be wrong. Next is the impact. It's direct dynamic diamond overhead. You only cast this card during your opponent's final phase if there's a Prism Dragon on your center and you did not take damage this turn. Pay 4 gauge, deal damage to opponent equals to the number of attacks of opponent attacks. This is worded really weird on this. Basically, for every number of times they attacked, +2. This card effect can't be nullified. The damage cannot be reduced, and your opponent's life. If your opponent's life will become 0 by this card, it cannot be changed. It's very similar to the Christiana Crystal Shoot, except it can deal a lot more damage, but it is double the gauge. I think I'm going to stick to the original, once again, just because of that low gauge, because Prisms burn through gauge, because there's very hefty costs to bring out your Athoras. I know the new boots can help with this, which we'll go into in a sec, but I still think I'm going to run Crystal Spikes as well. So if you still plan on running Crystal Spikes, I'd still use Cristiano Crystal Shoot over this. If you want to go for this, you have to kind of run the new item. But yeah, I get why this is a thing. This is very powerful. This can destroy your opponent very easily, but I don't think there's much consistency in getting what you're going to need, like 7. You can need like 8 gauge overall. You can need 3 to bring out 4, 1 to activate the Overturn, 4 for this, and then you're probably going to have to equip that item anyway to get 2. So you're looking at like 7 to 9 gauge, which is insane, as opposed to like 5 or 6 or something like that. It's just, yeah, it is very heavy. So we'll see. Next, they have the triple monster in the set is Rainbow Crystal Dragon, Kursigast, Prison Dragon 727. Put the top card of your deck into this card's soul and pay for a gauge. This card on your field cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects and cannot be returned to hand. Pretty good. You can be dealt damage and penetrate damage by this, but can't be bounced or destroyed. At the beginning of your opponent's final phase, put 2 cards from your opponent's field. Destroy up to 2 cards on your opponent's field and draw cards equal to the number of cards destroyed and deal damage to your opponent equal to the number of cards drawn. Double attack and soul guard. This card is good. I still think I kind of prefer Sheldry over this. I'm not 100% sure. This has better stats, but it's got a higher gauge cost, and it only gets higher gauge cost. It only gets 1 soul as well. Obviously, it can't be destroyed, which is very, very good. But you've got to make sure it stays alive until your opponent's end phase to kind of use it effectively, which against the 2 main meta decks at the minute isn't going to happen unless you have a certain spell in hand, which I'm going to go to right at the end, which is possible. So this is kind of viable, but it's the 3 gauge and the having to keep it on the field is a bit of a risk. So we'll see how viable it will be, but it's not we run a high number if at all. Next, Ball Crystal Dragon. Schwarzy, something 616. The top card of your deck into this card's soul and pay 1 gauge. If you have an originally size 3 Prison Dragon on your center, the size of this card on your left or right is reduced by 3, so it's size 0. If you have a size 3 in the center, when a Prison Dragon is attacked, deal 1 damage to your opponent. This ability only activates once per turn. If this wasn't once per turn, it'd be real broken, especially with the Overturn. So no complaints there. Is this viable? Not really. I suppose it's a good backup. Like if you don't go into a Thora, you can call it into the center to kind of stall, because it's only 1 gauge. It can be destroyed, it can be run over, it can deal penetrate, anything like that. Obviously, it does a little bit of burn damage. There's extra burn damage, which is always good. If you have this, Thora Crystal Spikes, normally just going to deal 2 burn damage every turn. On top of the Overturn, it's going to deal more. But I don't know how much, if this will be played. We'll see. I'm going to play test. It's a good card though. Is it a double rare, I believe? Yeah, it's a double rare. Next, Life Crystal Dragon Yumi. 626. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into this card's soul and pay 3 gauge. If you have 10 or more life, this card on your field cannot be destroyed by card effects and cannot be returned to hand. Bit weird. You have to kind of get it open in hand, and if you don't have an Thora, because you'd probably preferably call that out. When you gain life, for this turn, this card gets plus 2000 power, plus 25 defense, and plus 1 critical. This ability only activates once per turn. Double attack and soul guard. I think this is for a separate build, kind of a life game build. There's not much. I don't think it gives you life unless you could buddy this, I suppose, but why? I don't know. This isn't going to see any kind of play in like a Thor build, I don't think. Next, we move on to the lower size kind of Prison Dragon. This is Thunder Crystal Dragon Denki Bran. There's actually a Thunder Empire monster as well. I should put this in the previous section, but I don't know how much play it will see in Thunder Empire or at all, really. It's a common. Size 1, like I said, Prison Dragon, Thunder Empire, 3/2/1. Put the top card of your deck into this card's soul and pay 1 gauge. If there's another monster in your center, reduce the size of this card by 1. When this card attacks, you gain 1 life. Soul Guard. I don't like it in prisms, you have to pay the gauge. Thunder Empire doesn't like it for that either, probably. It's size 1 with 2 crit, which can be good, but I think both have better options. I don't think this will see any play. Next, red Crystal Dragon Nemu, size 0 Prison Dragon, 2/1/1. When this card enters the field, you may call it to 1 size 0 Prison Dragon from your drop zone, other than itself, by paying its core cost. This is interesting. I'm not entirely sure if you have room for it. We have a lot of decent options for your size 0s, so this can be good. It has to be an originally size 0, so it has to be size 0 in your drop zone, so it can't be anything that will become a size 0. But yeah, this I probably won't play it, but I can see why people would play this. If you run your size 0s at low numbers and you need something specific for a specific situation, he can be good. He's also an uncommon, so he's not going to be hard to get hold of. Yeah. So next we move on to the 2 new items. This is Crystal Gleaves. This is Prism Defense Weapon. 0 power, 0 crit, 5000 defense. A quick cost to pay on gauge. The ability of all Prism Dragons on your center cannot be nullified, and it gets 2000 power plus 2000 power attack and defense. This ability cannot be nullified. Always good, that's what you want. So your weapon choice is now between this and Crystal Spikes. I still prefer Crystal Spikes for the burn damage. Once again, this card at the beginning of your opponent's final phase, if there's a Prism Dragon on your center, put 2 cards from your drop zone into your gauge. Now this can be good. I mean, I might run him because obviously if you have Christiana Crystal Shoot, you instantly have the gauge for that. If you've blown your gauge on this turn, you've gone a Thora, you've equipped these, whatever, and you've got no gauge. You get your 2 gauge, and then you can, if they're at 4 damage or less, and you've met the conditions, you win. So it's pretty good. I get why this could be used. I might even run this at 1 because they can be searched by something I'm going to go into at the end. But yeah, these are okay. These are pretty good. They're a rare as well, so they're not hard to get hold of. Next is Lapis Lazuli Gleaves. Prism Defense Weapon, 0 power, 0 crit, 4 defense, a quick cost to pay on gauge. This card on the field cannot be destroyed by card effects, and the ability of Prism Dragons on your field cannot be nullified. Pretty good. If there's a Prism Dragon monster on your center, all cards on your opponent's field get minus power and defense of 1000. I don't see much point because your Crystal Spikes and Gleaves can increase the center by 2, and minusing 1 isn't going to help your sides much. So I think this is uncommon, so this is easy to get hold of, but I don't see much play in this. I suppose it's good in like the kind of minusing builds you can make, but yeah. Next we move on to spells. This is a triple rare spell. We finally get our own version of Bat's Link. This is Prismatic Bless. This is just a Star Dragon World generic spell. You may only cast this card during your opponent's turn. Counter, look at cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of times your opponent has attacked during the turn. Put a card from among them into your gauge and put 2 cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order and you gain 1 life. You may only cast Prismatic Blessing once per turn. So this is a really, really good card. So if it's your opponent's turn and they've attacked 3 times, and you're getting pretty low on hand and they've got more attacks coming, you go, hold on a sec, let me activate this. Let's look at the top 3. Oh, there's some defense spells. Thanks for the gauge, thanks for the life. Boom, here's a crystallization, here's a phase chain, which I'm going to go into at the end, which is really good. So yeah, this card is worthy of a triple rare, very worthy of a triple rare. Splashable in any deck. It's not Prism Dragon specific, once again, even though it looks all Prism Dragon-y, just like Crystallization. So yeah, this is a really, really good card. I suggest nabbing as many copies of these as you can if you run Star Dragon. You can use this in Cosmo Dragoons, you can use this in Neo Dragons. It's probably most useful in Prisms, but it's splashable in anything. Next is Aldo Ground. Set spell, put all Prism Dragon on your field, gain plus 1k attack and defense. During your turn, when your opponent is dealt damage with the top card of your deck into your gauge and draw a card, this ability only rises once per turn. This is a double rest spell. This is okay. I don't know if Prisms have the room for it. It's good advantage, but we'll see. It's okay. I think Mirror Valley is a bit better in terms of like countering stuff that can upset you. This just helps you gain an advantage, but yeah. Gemologist. This is a very good card. This can only be cast if you have 6 more life. Put the top card of your deck into your gauge, and put 1 size 3 Prison Dragon from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck. You may only cast Gemologist once per turn. Thank God they released this. A lot of people are mad about this. A lot of people are like, oh, it should be pay a gauge, not gain one. But it's Star Dragon. This is the weakness, is the gauge. And consistency of not having my Thor in hand. This solves both of them. And it's a rare. Thank you, Bushy Road. My favoritism is showing very through a lot in this video. I apologize. But I love Star Dragon World, and I know a lot of people are upset by this card. I get why. It's good. It kind of solves a lot of problems which people thought made the deck fair. But yeah, moving on. Full Bright Eye. Destruction Star Dragon World spell. You may only cast this card during your opponent's final phase. If there's a Prism Dragon on your center, destroy a card on your opponent's field. If you do, draw a card. It's a uncommon. Fills space, I suppose. It's not very viable. There's not much room for it in Star Dragon World, I don't think. Yeah. Heavenly Crystal Awakening. Really nice art. It's very blurry on this, but I think it's in the English, it's like the pack art. Not very useful spell though. You may only cast this card if you have activated Overturn during this fight. Put the top 3 cards of your deck into your gauge and draw 3 cards. You only cast this once per fight. So, I originally misread this wrong actually. I thought you could only use it on the turn you activated Overturn. But if you activate Overturn during the fight, 3 gauge, draw 3. Which is good. And you can only use it once per game. Or per fight, whatever. But it can be a dead card in your hand if you don't use, if you can't make Overturn. This might be useful later in the game if we get like maybe another Thor for Overturn again. Maybe when Jack gets his Overturn, it might be useful in this because it's very generic. But yeah, ideally you kind of use your Overturn to kind of finish your opponent. So I'm not, this is kind of, I suppose it's alright if you use Overturn. You don't have like the impact in hand, and it's not like the burn damage is going to kill your opponent. This can like Hail Mary for the impact, and it sets up. If you want to run the 4 damage, the 4 gauge impact, it's good set up for that because you get 3 gauge. But I don't know. It's a bit too risky for me. It upsets consistency. It's kind of like a big risk reward kind of card if you run it in your deck, but we'll see. Finally, there's 2 cards I really want to talk about because these are 2 very splashable cards across Star Dragon World, which I think are very, very good. So this is Flying Crystal Dragon Shieldry, size 0 Prism Monster, 2/1/1. When this card enters the field, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, put up to 1 defense card from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck. This card is really, really good. Everyone's kicking off about the good cards in Prism Dragons. Outside of your obvious like your Thora, I think this is it. It's a double rare, rightly so. This is splashable. You basically swap a dead card in your hand for a defense spell, or a defense card even, sorry, because I'll show you all the options in a minute. So this is very good in Prism Dragons because you get any kind of defense, anything like that. Any of your items, they're all defense. In Neo Dragon, it'll get you a defense spell to hand, and it will probably put a Dragon Arms in your drop zone that you want there anyway. So it's win-win, obviously. I will now show you all the cards this card can search out. So obviously all the Prism Dragon items, all the barriers, any kind of shield. If you run out any Cosmo Dragoons, you can get your shields, you can get Extend Defender, you can get Extremism Effect, you can get bloody Crystallization Phenomenon, anything like that. You can get your 2 set spells. They're all defense. And you can get Phase Seal Chain. This card is really interesting and very divisive in the game. It's a goddamn common. I don't know why. You may only cast this card at the end of the 3rd battle of your opponent's attack phase. Counter. The attack phase ends. There was a dramatic pause there to let that sink in, because if you don't know about this card is ridiculous and is basically a massive counter to the main meta threats at the minute. It stops Thunder Empire. Obviously, they get the final phase. If they've cleared your center with those 3 attacks and you let them 5 damage, they can still impact you, but it's probably unlikely. Or you can risk the impact. It stops Chaos having all their multiple attacks. It stops Leviathan having millions of attacks. Anything like that, just they have 3 attacks, end the turn. Or end the attack phase even, and then they go into the final phase, and if you have the impact, congrats. You know, if they couldn't get over a Thora in 3 attacks, boom, there you go. The combination is amazing. Like I said, this is splashable in every Star Dragon World build as well. So you can run this in Neo Dragons, you can run it in Cosmo Dragoons, you can run it in Star Zodiac. Not Star Zodiac, Neo Dragon Zodiac, obviously. But yeah, so this in combination is goddamn amazing. I'm so happy these became things. So obviously I'm considering. It's very up in the air what I'm taking to Worlds at the minute. This makes me want to run Prism Dragons. I can also test it in Neo Dragons and see how it works, putting a Sheldry in. Obviously, I can search out my Crystallization Phenomenon. I can put this is going in, regardless if I take it to Worlds or not. So I can search it out. So yeah, for me, it's between them. For a quick tier analysis going after this set, in theory, Thunder Empire and Chaos are obviously still up there at tier 1. I think they're really the main tier 1 decks at the minute. And will be continue to be after this set. I think Prisms will join them. I hope they do anyway. I could be proven wrong. Everyone was really on about Prisms when they first were announced, and then they kind of hit the meta and they did okay, and they fell off real quick. This set is designed to bring them back into that position, but we'll see how it works in practice in terms of consistency and getting stuff out, and how it works and how smart people are playing against them, because Prisms will really force your opponent to think about what they need to do. And a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people just like calling bats and swing, 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 I win. Which is basically the meta at the minute. But yeah, in terms of other stuff, you know, Purgatory Knights has kind of fallen to tier 2. I'm trying to think. I don't know where Leviathan's going to sit. In my head, it's going to be like a 1.5. But I think it can struggle a bit. I'm not sure. In terms of Worlds, my main focus is Prisms, Thunder, Chaos are the things I'm going to be up against. So I've got to think about what's best in the mirror, what could be best in the mirror match, or what's going to be best that's not them against them. In terms of you wondering where I think Jack sits, Jackknife, I think he'll still be 1.5 with these to 2, 2 to 1.5. He's still a viable option to me. I don't know if I'm going to run him. I'm really up in the air. I probably will run him or Prisms or Chaos, but my little heart doesn't want me to run Chaos at Worlds. You know, Jack got me there. I kind of want to run Jack, but I've got to think about what's going to help me win. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated. Like I said, I'm going to test a lot of stuff when the set comes out, and anything I don't build personally, I'm either building with someone or they're building the opposite. So we'll be building Chaos, Prisms, updating basically all the Star Dragon World stuff I'll be building. I might build some of the dungeon stuff. Definitely between me and a friend, we're building Leviathan. And he also runs Thunder Empire, so we'll be building them. So we're testing a lot, trying different builds, trying different cards, seeing what works. I'll pass the information on to you guys for those that are interested, and we'll see how it goes going forward into Worlds. But I think it's going to be very interesting. I think it's split up into aggression, defense, and control, and one it's like rock paper scissors. So it depends on your matchups. You know, you could have a really good build and round 1 play the worst matchup for your deck, or you could play the best matchup for your deck all day and win because you just got lucky with matchups and other people took out your big threats. It's just completely down to luck. So I've got to try and build the deck that is most consistent against everything, I suppose, including itself. So we'll see what that is. This video has gone on for far too long, so I'm going to end it here. I've got stuff to do, places to be. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this wasn't too much of a drag. I hope my voice wasn't too boring to listen to this long. But if you enjoyed this kind of thing, and if this gets support, I'll do it more in the future. I'll do it for Vanguard, hopefully as well. I don't know how popular set breakdowns are. I've seen other people do them, but I've never looked at numbers or anything like that. But I had the time today to get this done today, so I thought I would. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I shall be seeing you soon with some videos. I'm going to get some Buddyfight stuff up as I'm filming it. In practicing anyway. I might as well show you guys how it's going and how things are running. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be seeing you guys soon. This has been VGBlaster. Bye.